With Austin seeing a 32% reduction in inventory, more buyers are running out and buying new build properties than ever. So what is the real stuff you must know before buying a new build home? Here you go. Jeremy at the Night Group, your favorite Austin realtor. We have a great video for you today. We have a lot of buyers reach out to us looking and having questions about buying new builds. And on top of that, we have a lot of clients we help buy new builds. And on top of that, in the last 2 years, I personally purchased 2 new build properties. And the reality is there's a lot of things that aren't really said about buying new builds and kind of what you should look out for. So we're gonna go through that in this video. First off, there are a lot of great reasons to buy a new build property. You're the first person to live in the home, so that's pretty cool. Secondly, you get to pick some of the upgrades that go into your home, and that's also a lot of fun. Third, you know what? It's usually less maintenance. Yes, you will have to spend a lot of money to upgrade certain things in the home, but it's usually brand new and hopefully you don't have as many issues. Now, the one reason that people are buying more new homes right now is because this market is so hot. It is hard to buy a property without going $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over list price. Yes, it's happened. And on top of that, some builders will give you incentives to buy their homes. So those are a lot of great reasons. But what do you really need to know when you're buying a new build? Here we go. Hey, and stick around for the last one on this list because it is actually very important and a lot of people get in a lot of trouble because they don't pay attention to this. So stick around for that. First on this list that's actually really important is the tax rate. Now, when you buy a new build, there's maybe potentially a higher tax rate, yes, but the taxes aren't established like when you're buying a resale home. When you buy a resale home, you know what the taxes are. With a new build, you don't. There's an estimate. Now, here's what people run into is that since the taxes aren't set, you really don't know what they are, and so the county has to assess your taxes. A lot of times they appraise your house a lot higher than you actually purchased it. So if you set aside $7,000 in your escrow for the year for your taxes and it ends up being $9,000, number one, your monthly payment is going to skyrocket. That could hurt you. And number two, you're gonna have to pay that $2,000 difference. It's happened. So know that whatever tax rate they do give you and what you estimate your taxes are, you're really gonna have to pad that a little bit more and add some more money potentially because that could come back to really hurt you. So that's number one. All right, next on this list is actually very, very important, and that's do your due diligence on the builder you're going to use. Because the reality is not all builders are created equally. Some will have better service, some will have better quality, and some will actually be just all around better. The reality is that some builders will, they'll lie to you. In Texas, you have the right to representation. So you have the right to have a realtor represent you. Now look, this isn't a pitch or a PSA to use a realtor, and it's not a pitch to use me, but it's a safety thing for you. Builders, they pay your agent, negotiate and help you through the process. They pay your agent, you don't. And there are builders that will persuade you not to do that. Now, why would a builder persuade you not to have a realtor represent you? Number one, they're gonna try to say that you will actually save money by not having a realtor. The builder saves money by you not using a realtor. Number two on this, builders will tell you things that aren't necessarily true just to kind of get you to get to closing and close. Now, having a realtor will be somebody to help you check and make sure what they're telling you is actually the truth. Now, keep in mind, not all realtors are the same as well. So make sure you do have an agent who knows what they're talking about. 3, the rep that represents the builder does not represent you, and they don't represent your interest. They represent you trying to close on time and make that builder more money. So don't think that the builder rep actually represents you, because they don't. Building a home can be stressful and it takes a lot of time. So having somebody help represent you through that process will help make sure that things get done on time, because the reality is the builder may not make a close on time, or they'll tell you something like, hey, you don't need to have an inspection of this home because we have a third-party person inspect. That's a lie. Look, you really should have an inspection on a home, and the builder isn't going to tell you that because they don't want to, I don't know, be held accountable for things. The reality is they want to close and they want to take your money and smile while you do it. So be aware of that. It is important to have an agent help you through that process. If you don't want one and you think you can do it on your own, have at it. This is not me trying to tell you you have to have a realtor. It's helping you make that decision. All right, under the same topic, I'm gonna throw something else in that I think is really important, is that all builders have different standard products they put in a home. So it's really important to know what products they're putting in your home, because here's the thing, builders want to charge you for everything. They're gonna give you a base price in the home. And then you're gonna go look and say, I want this lot. That is gonna be an upgraded fee. You're gonna have a lot premium. On top of that, let's say they have basic level 1 carpet throughout the home, but level 1 carpet isn't that great. So you're gonna upgrade the wood floors, tile floors, which adds more cost. And then you're gonna go look at the countertop and say, you know what, I don't like these countertops, so let me upgrade that as well. Next thing you know, you've upgraded your home way above potentially your budget. If you do upgrade and you upgrade a lot in the home, potentially you might not make appraisal at the end. And look, if you don't make appraisal, that could actually cost you a lot of money. Because here's the thing, if there's a gap in that appraisal, it's possible that you're pretty much paying for those upgrades out of pocket, or you may be not able to make that difference up and have to come out of contract, and then you end up losing your earnest money. So over improving could cost you money. And speaking of those upgrades, it's actually gonna cost you 3 to 5 times more than what it actually costs if you were to buy some of those upgrades and put them in yourself. So keep that in mind. Things like flooring, you might wanna do after you close and put in nicer flooring, because potentially it'll cost you a lot less and it'll help you where you don't have an appraisal issue. Something to think about. All right, and here's something that builders probably don't want me to tell you, and that is that you can negotiate on a lot of things. Now look, you're gonna walk into a new build and they're gonna tell you, here's the base price, here's how much incentives we'll give you to upgrades, here's how much incentives we will give you for using our lender. I'll get back to the lender thing in a minute here. The reality is that you can always go negotiate for more. Now, they might not negotiate more on the price, but they'll negotiate more on the upgrades that you put in the home. So you may want to negotiate to get more dollars towards the upgrade costs, because the reality is they want to keep prices high in the neighborhood so they can still keep making money, and on top of that, they don't want to affect anyone else's appraisals. So there you go, make sure you negotiate, because they will negotiate. Even though they tell you they won't, they will. So here's actually a solid tip on negotiating. It is a challenge to negotiate when you're actually doing a build, because it's going to take 8 to 10 months to actually build a home. But if they have an inventory property on hand, it's possible that you can negotiate the price on that inventory property. Look, they want to get that property off their books as quick as possible. The challenge is you might not get to pick all the things that go into that home, yet you are going to get a better deal doing an inventory property. You're welcome. So back to that whole lender thing I was telling you. Builder's lender will give you more incentives to use their lenders. The reality is those lenders' fees typically are very high. Why is that? Because you're actually paying for those incentives kind of roundabout. They don't want to tell you that, and they don't want me to tell you that, but that does happen. Now, what I always recommend is if you are going to walk in a new build, they will require you to get pre-approved with their lender. Get pre-approved with another lender, because here's what happens. At the end, you could probably get those 2 lenders to fight against each other to give you a better rate and hopefully bring down some of those closing costs. And we've actually had times where the outside lender has beat the other lender, the builder's lender, on costs so much. Our clients have used the outside lender, so that's a pro tip. Make sure you have another lender to help negotiate and get prices down. This last tip is very important, and I really hope that you pay attention to this. If you're buying a new build, plan to be in that home at least 3 to 5 years. Or buying a new build that isn't gonna take a long time to build. Now, here's what happens. A lot of times, somebody will buy into a first phase of a build, but it's gonna be 5 or 6 years before that neighborhood finishes. 2 years down the road, they have to sell. Number one, their taxes are much higher than they thought they would be, so that's kind of not a good thing. Now, when you put your home on the market, you're actually competing against all the inventory of the builders in that neighborhood. And guess what? They're giving incentives and they're doing everything they can to take that person's business to their new builds and take it away from your home. So it's really important you know the time frame of how long that neighborhood will take to build out, because yes, prices will go up, but that doesn't mean that your home prices go up. The last day of the last sale of a new build neighborhood is when you start making really good money on your home. So for more tips about buying new build, or if you're considering buying resale, definitely reach out to me, Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, watch these videos. This was a long one. Have an awesome day.